Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Book Records. So, Rule 12 discusses statutes. So, when we're citing to an entire statute, then we name the statute, and this is U.S. statutes. We name the statute with the official name of the act, followed by a comma. Then, with the USC title number, followed by the abbreviation of the code cited. And in this first example, we are looking at the USC. And then the section symbols, and we use two section symbols because we're talking about a span of sections, right? So two section symbols, and then the span of sections containing that particular statute. Then we usually follow by a parenthetical with the date of the code edition that you're citing. So now when you cite an individual provision of the United States Code, you simply start with the title number, followed by USC, section symbol, specific section cited, followed by the date of the code edition cited. So in Rule 12.1, you'll see the basic citation forms. And there's a table here. So, which explains citing to the current official code, to the current unofficial code, to official session laws, these privately published session laws, citing to commercial databases, and citing to secondary sources. So then how do we decide what the proper citation form is? So usually in the general rule is, if available, we cite to the statutes currently in force, to the current official code. Then we cite statutes no longer in force to the current official or unofficial code, if they're in there. Otherwise, we cite to the last edition of the official or unofficial code. So we cite private laws to the session laws. Otherwise, we cite to a secondary source. And then we have exceptions for scattered statutes. Then we usually just follow that by a parenthetical, for example, codified as amended in scattered sections of, and then cite the title. So moving to Rule 12.8. And I've skipped Rule 12.3, 12.4, 12.5, 12.6, 12.7 because they are self-explanatory. So if you're dealing with current official and unofficial codes, see 12.3, session laws would be 12.4, electronic databases and online sources will look at 12.5, and then other secondary sources look at 12.6. If there's an invalidation, repeal, amendment, or private history, Rule 2.7 will inform you how to indicate that. Usually it's followed by a If it's invalidated, you'll cite it, then followed by a comma with the word invalidated by in italics, and then which code invalidated. Same thing, well, not same thing, but similarly with repeal, we follow that with a parenthetical in the date of repeal, or followed by a comma, and then in italics, repealed by, and then what it was repealed by. Again, if there's an amendment, a parenthetical, and then the date of amendment, or what it was amended by, we follow with a comma, amended by in italics, and what it was amended by. And same thing with prior history. So prior history can be given parenthetically, and then check out Rule 12.8, which is what we're talking about now. So explanatory parentheticals are used to show the location of statutes cited to session laws, secondary sources, or identifying useful dates, such as the effective date of the statute, talking about when it's invalidated, repealed, amended, and prior history of a statute. So, and always thinking back to Rule 1.5, our parenthetical information when we're writing parentheticals. So Rule 12.9, special citation forms. This is, so for example, we'll indicate how to cite to the Internal Revenue Code, citing to specific ordinances. This would be like city ordinances in the example they give in 12.9.2, Montgomery, Alabama ordinance, or Portland, Oregon's police code. Citing to the rules of evidence, you'll abbreviate the set of rules with small caps and then the number of the rules cited. There's no section, paragraph, or abbreviation for rule. Same thing with the federal rules of criminal procedure, appellate procedure, the rules of evidence, etc. So we look to Rule 12.9.4 when we are citing to model codes, principles, restatements, sentencing guidelines, and uniform acts. So here we're using small caps followed by section and the section number. There's no commas here. And the source of the principle, or whatever it is. So in this first example, the American Law Institute, and then followed by the date. So then if we need to cite ABA codes of professional responsibility, opinions on ethics, we'll cite it according to Rule 12.9.5. with a short parenthetical if necessary. So Rule 12.10. So this is the short forms for statutes. And in Section B, it explains how to cite in short forms. So, and this is similar to cases. You have to remember that you can use any of the forms in this little table in Section 12.10b if it's already been cited in either full or short form, including id. You remember this exact language for cases, in either the same footnote or in a manner such that it can be readily found in one of the preceding 5 footnotes. including id. If you can't do that, use the full citation form. So you see in named statutes, the short form simply starts with section or the volume USC in section. I would recommend, or it looks cleaner to me if you use something like the last example, Administrative Procedure Act, Section 1. So consult this table if you need to cite the short form for any of these session laws, state code provisions, U.S. code provisions, etc. And there's a reminder here that the word section should be spelled out in the law review text and footnote text if you have any. But the section symbol needs to be used in citations. So for materials available on electronic databases, simply use the name of the database when you're using the short form. So the example here is we're taking the Wisconsin statute and citing it with just the section symbol, the section, and in parentheticals, the Westlaw electronic database. So this is all for Rule 12. We'll take a short break and move on to Rule 13. Thanks, everybody, and take care.